Okay, so I am making this video due to this person named Jordan Green, and I'm just basically going to have this video response to the comment that Jordan gave me. So I'll just read it. I guess just to recap on what Jordan was talking about. So they said, "Hey, I'm an INFJ. My best mate is currently in ISFP super ego mode, so that would be a INTP. Um, and the signs are clear that he was alienated by the group we were in. It took almost 2 years to realize, as I wasn't familiar with the MBTI. Please help if you can. I don't know what to do. Our group has an ESFP and an ESTJ in. Ooh, concrete. And they demand we be concrete, which totally splits the group's interactions and throws the intuitives in the other sides of our mind to the point that we don't even get on. Yeah, that makes sense. That sucks, though, too. But anyways, as I enter my ESTP subconscious to keep up with the human need of the group, which is SE, my NTP mate gets left in the dust, as his functions go pretty much entirely under the radar, as I was only compatible type in the group to him. Well, intuitively speaking wise, yeah, for that, because I guess you can match just intuition with the INTP because you both have intuition in the top two slots. I guess that's what helps IN personality types communicate more well than other personality types. I get for the same the ESFP and the ESTJ. But anyways, that's not all. There's more. Please help me get him back, as he is by far the most valued person in my life. He is in the exact state you mentioned in this video, and that video being INTP on INTP's ISFP superego. I just need to know how to get him one-on-one again, so we can go over everything at depth like we used to, with this new information as a pothole to watch out for in the future." So, okay, so basically going off of that, since he's been alienated, and I know he, I believe, gets into he. So, so he's alienated himself from the group, and like you're saying, you're trying to get him back. If you want to do that, it may be a little bit difficult, but you have to make him comfortable, because I know it sounds easier than done, but that's one of the things you got to do. You got to make him be really comfortable around you physically and emotionally too. So you gotta enter in your ENFP side of mind and just listen to him, because your extroverted thinking, if you're not if that's going to serve as your blind spot at the moment and you're not going to go to ENFP mode, then that can cause some issues in the INTP's thinking, because I just had like a super ego trip not too long ago as well, like with a friend that metaphorically kind of threw me in the trash. I was really devastated, and that person, I didn't even get to explain myself to that person. I was really devastated. I'm still devastated now, but because I'm just trying to think of every possible way I could make things right with that person, or if that person can communicate with me, because I've been interested in communicating with that person, and funny enough, that person shares the four sides of the mind with you, because that person is a ENFP, and that person spends a lot of time in the INFJ unconscious and their ESTP superego, and I've been trying to get that person out of that, so they can be who they are. But um, that that person kind of pushed me away, which made me really upset because um, I just wanted I just wanted to show, I guess, a lot of affection and a lot of appreciation and a lot of love for that person, because that person really didn't get that out of their whole life. And then I come in for 2 weeks and they tell me I'm the nastiest person that's ever been in their life. So anyways, going back to the superego for the INTP. um you had you had to be concrete about um giving them the information that you value them and you appreciate them and you want to do stuff for them. It's almost like emulating a ENTJ personality type, or maybe INTP too. Even though that could be a little bit difficult because because INFJs are triple interest based, which by just looking at the charts of an INFJ being triple interest and an INTP being triple systematic, it's kind of like a turnoff for INTP or INTPs, in my opinion, or at least for me, because as I've known INFJs, they tend to be more affiliative, and by that I mean that they try to do more what's right than what works in situations. Like sometimes they miss the underlining meaning, even though they're intuitive personality types as well as the other 8 personality types that use intuition. But um, the hardest part again, or going from affiliative, I'm going to interest now because INFJs are triple interest. The hardest part is to kind of be selfless, because your introverted intuition in your first slide is like saying, I want this, I want this, I want to do this, I want to do this. But you gotta put into perspective what the INTP wants, because um, I INTPs, I think, can be the most selfless people because we're just triple systematic and we're just trying to understand things. We're not really trying to be selfish in a way, and if we do, then we get really hard on ourselves. That's what puts us in our ISFP superego too. Like if we don't think we're being fair to everyone, that might bite us either in the moment or just like maybe a couple days or a couple hours, maybe minutes later, because that's all we think about. We think about fairness. We think about just doing what works for people. And if we have like a lot of control in the situation, we can maybe do what's morally right. But we don't usually look into morals. That's usually the last thing we look into, like morals, emotions, sentiments, and stuff like that, because, well, that's INTP's last function. And if you want INTPs to feel not worthless, because I can tell you deep down, most if not all INTPs, their inner demons just telling them, hey, you're worthless. No one likes you, or you don't have any value to anyone. Stuff like that, because in a way, like I said, INTPs, they're triple systematic and they're not really interest based, so they're not, by nature, they're not usually selfish in terms of INFJ, because oh yeah, and I apologize, Jordan, for this. My I went to go to my INFJ friend's house, and introverted intuition got in the way for him, and after we were talking for a bit, he wanted to go to arcade, so we went there. No, we went to go eat first at this local pizza place, and then we went to arcade later. Then they got yogurt. Keep in mind, that's all what he wanted to do. I just wanted to record the video, but INFJ, your introverted intuition just got in the way, or his introverted intuition got in the way, And then his extroverted sensing inferior kind of got in the way in some parts of the day too, like because he just wanted to give certain sensations and do what he wanted to do, and it wasn't really based off of what we wanted to do. um and I'm kind of going off of this story just to explain a little bit of the INFJ, especially the interest-based part. So here's where the interest-based part comes from, and that's why I'm saying it's in a way it's like a turnoff to INTPs. It's because I usually view or see INFJs that I know, they view whatever they do with people as a contract to contract basis. So if you're doing something for them or if they're doing something for you, they think in their head, oh, you have to give me something back, or I have to give you something back in return. And INTPs, it's kind of hard for us to understand it or sometimes even tolerate it too, because just going back to what we were doing when we had pizza, we were splitting it. So I was like, okay. Um, we went to the arcade. I paid for like this credit card thing or something like that we could use. And then he was asking for everyone to pay separately for bowling, like he wasn't gonna do it himself. Like so he ended up paying for bowling, but he told me, hey, we're going to yogurt and you're gonna pay for the yogurt or ice cream, because we went to like Yogurt Land or something like that. But I was like, I guess, um, like I'm just basically saying it's like the interest based part of you, or of the INFJs I know, or by nature it's just a turn off, because like I don't mind, like in that situation I don't mind paying money and stuff like that, but I I'm just extremely drawn to more selfless people, and I don't see INFJs as much, even though they do selfless things. It's just not going on in my head all the time, and it's also because of they have a introverted feeling pessimistic function too down in their ENFP unconscious. Like it's like they deserve this, they deserve that, stuff like that. And I mean that's pretty much what the introverted feeling can be, just entitlement, and I don't like that. It's a turn off. It's a really big turn off, especially in INFJs as well. But just going back to what I was talking about your friend or your buddy in the ISFP superego. What's going on through his head is just no one appreciates me, not even you, Jordan. Maybe I'm telling it. Maybe I'm telling the truth, man. Maybe I'm telling the lie, but um, their inner demon's just gonna tell them who actually loves them, who actually appreciates them, because the ones who actually love them or appreciate them are the ones who will sit and talk about everything, and understand them. And by understand them, I mean just not talking over them, maybe giving them pointers, but if they're giving them pointers, they have to kind of be extremely abstract like the INTP, because in my opinion, like INTPs and ENFPs are like super creative, and personal opinion, because well, for ENFPs, because they have extroverted intuition and extroverted thinking in their optimistic slots. But if you want to get INTP to be super optimistic about that, you have to have them care for someone or actually love someone, almost like a significant other, I guess. But I mean, that's what that ENFP was for me. But then, that person did what they did, and I just don't really know how to, express it or feel about it, because I know I can expect better from myself and that person as well. And I'm just trying to improve myself every day, even though I'm always down on myself. Because maybe you don't know this, or you probably don't know this, Jordan, but like I said earlier, the introverted feeling demon, or the last slot for INTPs, it's just, you're worthless. INTP, you're worthless. INTP, no one values you. INTP, no one respects you. Because INTPs all they take most of the time in their day to think about these equations in their head. Okay, why is this person doing this? Why is this person doing that? And stuff like that. And it's not in particular to people. It's just people, places, and things. And when INTPs look at the cognitive function and introverted feeling, they're trying to create this really abstract, concrete meaning, or they go abstract about it, and then they're trying to find this concrete meaning to what introverted feeling is to them. What is, the love, the respect, the sentimental value of themselves. And you gotta dig deep, not for yourself, but for that INTP, because that INTP is gonna know right away whether you care for that person, or you're just using them for your own benefit, or for you're using them to gain more than they're gaining, because that's what interest-based people are. They tend to gain something out of a situation, or they're trying to look into what other people are gaining, or themselves, or both. Like I said before, INTPs, they're triple systematic. So when it comes to being interest based, they don't really care about that. They just care about exploring their thoughts and having these questions in their heads answered. I think something that might help is just talk to them about your deepest inner thoughts pertaining your demon, or your demon function, or your last function, which would be introverted sensing. Just always being worried about your comfort zone and about your past, about how you internalize information. Because when you talk about your deepest and darkest stuff like that, and I'm talking about the INFJ, maybe the INTP will open up, but you can't hesitate to do it, because if you hesitate to do it, then they're like, I don't know, man, because I don't know if this INFJ Jordan cares about me, because they're not being open to me. They're not being extremely open to me. They're not sharing everything with me, because they're too afraid to do that. They're too weak-minded to do that, because that's what can happen in an INTP's head. And if they're in their ISFP superego, it's just amplified. And they're not going to want to do anything with you. They're going to want to make the decisions themselves. And they don't want you to be a part of it. And if they do want you to be a part of it, you better be in the back seat. Because that's all what INTPs do. They're always in the back seat. And they always want to be patient, for other people. Because no one's patient for them. No one takes the time to appreciate really, who INTPs are. For me, I cut off a lot of family members in my life. Like, I've never, around the past year, I haven't really text or sent any text back or answered their calls. And it's because that my introverted feeling demon is saying that, Anthony, they don't really love you. They may care about you, appreciate what you do, but they don't love you. And I'm just trying to figure out what that means to me. And the introverted feeling to me just keeps saying, Anthony, you're worthless. No one's gonna love you. People are just using you. Because that's what the interest-based side of a personality type is. It's, it's trying to measure what something's gaining or losing from a situation. And for my ISFP superego, it realizes that people are just using me. benefit or gain. That's why I left my job Tuesday or about, so yeah, 6 days ago, because I was just being disrespected by this INFP manager, and I wasn't gonna tolerate it anymore. I wasn't gonna tolerate it because my introverted feeling demons like, you're gonna take this crap from this INFP anymore, because we can just walk away. We can always do that. And then the ENTJ side of my mind's like, yeah, because you do all this, you go out of your way to do all of this stuff. You take extra days to work there. You do all this stuff for them. You take the initiative. You talk to people. You talk to them about their personality types. You educate them. You educate people there too. While almost everyone there is just dictating to social norms, being a part of the crowd, doing all this stuff. And then all you're here doing, Anthony, is just thinking of all these ways you can improve everyone's psyche and make them have happier lives. And no one's really doing that for you. Except for that ENFP that came into my life not too long ago, that was pretty much a coworker. And then I unintentionally disrespected her out of work. And that ENFP, they didn't allow me to speak. And then, even though that person usually does, and I tried communicating with that person just didn't want to communicate with me because something wasn't adding up from what that ENFP was telling me. And I just been talking to my ISTP friend about it, because it was like a 3-friend relationship, or a 3 friendship in the workspace, but only he knows about that ENFP. And it's, a lot of things are starting to add up, because that ENFP, that ESTP, and my INFJ, they all have something in common, and that's they all share the 4 sides of the mind. So I get super educated when I'm talking to any of the 3, because they're all in a way speaking the same language. And I had an epiphany moment a couple times when I was speaking with the ESTP friend or the INFJ friend, because the ENFP friend wasn't really talking to me. But anyways, going back to the work situation, I'm doing all this stuff for people, and I'm not getting anything in return. Well, I'm not asking for anything in return. Or am I? Just unconsciously. And I'm asking to be loved, to be respected. Well, not so much respected, just to be loved. Because introverted feeling demon keeps saying, Anthony, you're not being loved. A lot of INTPs, I'm just gonna say most by nature, they're just not happy people. Even though we don't express our emotions that much, or we don't really know how to express our emotions, because we're still trying to find the meaning of it, because that's our lowest function, and it's really hard to dictate what it really means to us, because like I said, that lowest function in everyone, it's something that they don't understand. They're trying to understand it, and only this form of psychology is going to help you grow from that. But anyways, was saying, because I know intuitives, we can go from one point to another point, stuff like that. But anyways, like I was saying, I just wanted to be loved, and that ENFP was probably the first person in my life since like high school, which was about, it's 22 right now, 2022. So I would say about 5 to 6 years, where it felt that, or I thought someone really loved me, or someone really understood me. They just didn't know the whys, because when you don't know this form of psychology, there's some people who say they can read people. They know, they can see the whats, but they don't know the whys, or they can't go to that, that exact point where they exactly know why someone acts the way they do. and I go out of my way to do this because and I bet you a lot of INTPs do it too because their introverted feeling is just saying, "Ah, no one cares about me. Let's figure out why I'm just this depressed person that no one likes." Really. So they just find out about, this stuff. Maybe maybe they try to explain it to other people. Doesn't work. you know I'll show them. That's what my ISFP and my ENTJ, or my Wayfarer sides of mine, are saying. I'll show people how great I am. I'll show people, how much they're lying to themselves about me. I'll show them all of this. I'll show them why I'm a great person, why they can improve, why I'm improving, because I know they're not. Because I watch them. INTPs, we watch people all the time. We watch almost everything what they say, and we start with our introverted sensing child, or third slot. And then we remember that. And if they disrespect this, that goes to extroverted thinking nemesis. Either extroverted thinking nemesis is going to be like, fine, maybe I'll help you another day when I'm in the mood. Because it's tied to introverted feeling as well, extroverted thinking and introverted feeling. Or it's, extroverted thinking saying like, this person's probably going to disrespect you, but let's just give them a chance, so maybe we can learn something more from their, for them being disrespectful. And like, that's what I usually do, because I'm used to being disrespected. But I'm used to being disrespected just so much. It just usually things don't really affect me, and here's why: because my ISFP superego saying, well, this person's lying. This person might be telling the truth, or they're telling a half truth and a half lie. And the reason for that is that INTPs were already solved the equation or for the problem that's about to be announced by the person, in front of us, or the people in front of us, and we're already prepared for that situation. We already know where it's going to go, and we already know what truth or lies they're telling us, so it doesn't really affect us like that. That's why INTPs can be really careless about other people, because we can be selfless, but that's if we know people care. But we can be really careless too, because we pay attention. I know a lot of people may or may not agree with that, but I don't know. People like us, we put in the time, and you don't see it. That's the thing. You don't see us put any time at all. And then you're just sometimes too quick to judge. Don't be concrete like that. Be open-minded, because you're just gonna live a life like everyone else, and you're just gonna be sad and in a dysfunctional family all the time, because you didn't take the time to think twice. Because INTPs, they're not thinking twice. They're thinking like thrice, 3 times, 4 times. They're aware of, they're generally aware of their consequences most of the time. And for the INFJ, I went to go visit. You can't, just don't be transactional like him. Don't do that, because that's really a huge turnoff for INTP. For your ESFP and your ESTJ friend, have fun with that ESTJ friend, because even though they have extroverted feeling in their last slot, they got to realize that, hey, maybe I can care about people. People's emotions, their values, their sentiments, and stuff like that. Because if they don't, that's a maturity issue that if they're not going to move on from that, the INTP, just cut them off, cut them out of your life. They don't need that. And the worst part is, if they're still in that INTP's life, they're not friends. The INTP is just tolerating them. And same thing for the ESTJ. They're just tolerating. And you don't want to be in a relationship where you're tolerating someone. You just want to be in a relationship where you're understanding someone. And it's not by a transactional, need like some INFJs can be. That's a maturity standpoint. Self-education and self-improvement. Well, INFJs tend to want to improve themselves all the time, but they sometimes forget to think about others or to be aware of people's thinking, because that's like their blind spot, extroverted thinking in the 7th slot. And then they have this extroverted feeling telling them, oh, I got to do what's right, or I got to do what feels right, because they got to be interest-based about it. And like I said, that's a huge turnoff for INTP. It can't be about what you want. INFJ, Jordan, that's a huge turnoff. Like, you got to put basically all your functions into that person, into that INTP and their ISFP superego. Because we're pretty sad people and we're angry all the time, I can tell you that. Especially if the INTP is in their ISFP superego, they're angry and they're sad all the time. Because their inner demon's just saying, like I mentioned like 2 or 3 times earlier, oh, INTP, I am worthless. No one likes me, no one appreciates me, no one respects me. Maybe people might respect me, maybe people might appreciate me, but that's only for what I've done for them, or what I do. Because no one loves me. I kind of it's not that I'm going through that phase, it's just pretty much something that's going to stick to me for life. The best thing to do for an INTP for that is you got to get the INTP outside. The INTP's got to explore other places. So, like if they're staying at home or their comfort space, they gotta learn how to expand their comfort zone. Because if they don't, they're not gonna want to do anything, Jordan. And like I said, you can't let introverted intuition dictate what you want for them. It's not about what you want for them. It's about what you would like to see in them. You got to present the idea or the ideas to them. You had to make them make the choice. Even if they say no, you had to demonstrate in a way your loyalty to them, because that loyalty's pretty much tied into your last function, INFJ or Jordan. If you want to do that, you got to love yourself. Because maybe the INTP and their ISFP, they're trying to love themselves, but they just don't know how to, because they're being treated like crap all the time. They're being told to act like something they're not all the time. And we got to put in all the work. All the intuitives, we got to put in all the work for that, especially the INTP. And if people don't find that INTP physically attractive, it's going to be a lot harder for them. Or if there's people that do find them attractive and they're part of the social norm people, the concrete people, that can be a little bit difficult for the INTP, because then again, they're going to have to lie. They can't really be themselves. They can't present as themselves, because they got to they might go ESFJ and just care for people, or follow what people say. Because this just goes deeper. Maybe I can make another video about this, or more like another ISFP super ego video about it, because I'm starting to understand it more, because I've been talking to my ESTP friend and my ENFP friend. Well, back in the past, talking to my ENFP friend, and I've learned a little bit more about myself and a little bit more about themselves. And how you do that is that INTP, you got the INTP's got to get out. And when it comes to you, Jordan, interacting with the INTP, you have to put them in the driver's seat. They have to be in control, and you have to be extremely open-minded. And like I said, it can't be about what you want to do. And if it is about what you want to do, you got to present ideas. You got to make a caution. Because that's what INTPs do all the time. They make a caution. They're like, oh, we could do this, or we could do that, or we could do this. Because that's what extrovert intuition is. And if you're gonna assume with your extrovert intuition nemesis or fit slot that they're up to no good or something like that, you let them know. But you better make sure that they're in the driver's seat. Because I can tell you, the least favorite thing about INFJs for this INTP standpoint is your extrovert intuition nemesis. The fifth slot just being paranoid all the time. That's why I've known IJs and EP personality types to be just paranoid. And that's annoying for INTP. It really is, because INTPs are like selfless people, and they're like harmless people, harmless little critters. And then when you're paranoid around them, that just creates a nasty look on you. That's what it does. IJs and EPs alike, because IJs have extroverted intuition in their fourth or fifth slot, so it's in their worry or their anxiety, slot. And then the EPs, they have it. They're worried about their comfort zone, and if they switch to a different side of the mind, well, their extroverted intuition goes to the worry slot or the, anxious slot. Oh yeah, and that extroverted feeling filter that INFJs have, it's just don't sugarcoat stuff and don't filter stuff. Don't be a regular person in their life. Be someone special in their life, because that's what INTPs like. Because I can tell you, INTPs, they look at everything, and it's really hard for them to want something, because no offense to a lot of personality types, but a lot of you people look generic, even though we can look generic, sometimes ourselves. But intuitively speaking, we're not. We're like the opposite of generic. We're just, in a way, it's like saying we're special or we're too special because of our TINNE, and then our introverted feelings, just trying to understand it too. Man, these videos are always long too. 38 minutes. Oh yeah, you said it would be greatly appreciated. He had a similar situation to you, as his family is affiliative AF. Be it his mom's side instead. Defo added fuel to the fire before his disappearance. Oh, I forgot he was disappeared. INTPs are really great at that. Especially if they're just wrong most of their life, because that's pretty much how they are. Because they're like psychologically abused by nature. Most of them are psychologically abused their whole life or their whole upbringing. And like no one even knows it. So like when they ghosted, no one expects that. That's the funny and cool part about INTPs. Or about INTP history. Because that's what it is. Because everyone's rejecting them. You just can't be affiliative around them, INFJ. You got to make them make the choices. You got to kind of mature and use like almost all sides of your mind, because you have to educate yourself around this, and you got to prove to the INTP that you care about them and you love them, for who they are. And you just got to be really abstract and really open-minded about the situation, because I know INFJs, the ones I know, they're not really open minded. They're not um, about a lot of things. There's this one INFJ coworker I met. He's a really open minded fella. I got him to speak a lot in his ENFP shadow or unconscious. It's healthy mindset from him. He tells me to, well, he doesn't really know about the personality types and the cognitive behaviors of people, but he's mentioned to me that um, you know metaphorically speaking, that I shouldn't go to my superego, but I think it's I think it's healthy for me because I had to understand this inner dread I have all the time. And the only thing that's going to help me is to communicate that to people that I think love me. It doesn't mean that I have to love them, but they have to love me. Because the introverted feeling of the INTP has to know that it's loved, because it knows when you're lying and when you're not about it being valued or not being valued, or being loved or not being loved. Because maybe the top functions, they're trying to figure out, introverted thinking, does that person love me? Well, it's not a question for me, introverted thinking. So let's go to extroverted intuition. That's not really I can look into it, but um I can't really give you a direct answer for that. So let's go to introverted sensing, and then it just keeps going down. Just keeps going down. But before we get to the end of the line of the introverted feeling already has the answer. And a lot of the times the upper functions, they just don't want to admit the truth. They really don't. So you got to take this situation with this INTP really delicately, because just like any other NP types, they if you're not showing them that you're interested in them or you love them, they're just gonna kick you out. And I don't really know what else to say about that. Um, yeah, INFJ, just Jordan. Don't be narrow minded. Don't quickly jump to conclusions. You got to be extremely patient, because your patience is gonna be the very thing that makes or breaks that relationship you have with the INTP, and it's gonna make or break whether that person chooses to stay as a disappearing INTP or person, or they want to go out and explore with you. One of the greatest things I've done within the past 2 weeks was, or no, no, yeah, within the past 2 weeks was I took a trip to California, and I drove my friend and I to see our online friend for the first time. And it's just a breath of fresh air, because what I was going to do is I was just going to sit in my room all day, or pretty much all day, probably not go out, and, well, just go to work too, but just go back home and just do whatever debauchery stuff I would do. Video games. Um, I can tell you, my introverted feelings not proud to admit that I would watch porn to de-stress, because that's something I've chosen to be dependent on, and that's not the choice you want to live on with your life, INTPs. Like I said, you got to go out. You just got to go out and explore, because if you're going to be dependent on that, that's going to be like the introverted sensing and introverted feeling teaming up. It's because that porn addiction can be your dopamine, and it's not healthy, because you're just gonna stay in your comfort zone or inside and just not be active. You're just going to turn that introverted intuition off. Or actually, no, it's not really going to be turned off, but it's just going to be really prohibited or inhibited, sorry, from just almost anything that you see, because you just get too comfortable. It's just, well, what I have is enough. And that's really not healthy, because INTPs really have so much potential. And then I know that we're extremely hard on ourselves. We're sad and angry every day, even if we don't show it. At least for a lot of us INTPs. I'm not speaking for all INTPs. It's just not the I'm saying it's not really the way to go, because you're just missing out on a lot of opportunities for yourself. And I'm not saying for other people, for yourself, for your introverted feeling. Because you're just going to go out and explore and explore and explore. And then you're going to find someone that loves you. That really loves you. You know, your true definition of introverted feeling love. And then you're going to spend a lot of time with that person. You know? And the best thing about it is that you're going to do anything but everything with that person, because, well, you can be yourself around that. And it's going to cause you to be more smarter, and it's going to cause you to use all of your functions and all your sides of your mind, because someone's finally accepting you. So you want to go out of your way to improve yourself for them. And that's not saying that you're going to improve yourself for them, but you're going to improve yourself for yourself as well, because you like seeing yourself improving every day. But until those addictions stop, you're just going to be more sad and more angry by the day. I guess that's all I had to really say about that. And like I said, Jordan, just patience, loyalty, you know. There's maybe more tied to introverted sensing demon for you, but like I said, that's just going to make or break what you have with the INTP. Oh yeah, I talked about your ESTJ, but yeah, I had my former store owner, or the store owner at the place I used to work at. He's a ESTJ, and then my manager that really upset me is a INFP. So it's kind of working like with the subconscious from the ego variant personality types. But the INFP was just choosing what they wanted to say, and they're just religiously tied. They were ignorantly and arrogantly religiously tied. And that's what made me really angry, because it was pretty much a battle of the hero to the demon, or the first cognitive function to the last cognitive function, because both of them are just arguing. And they're not agreeing with each other. They always have their fist up. And it was just so irritating having this last conversation with her. She didn't know it was going to be the last conversation I had with her. And I didn't know it was going to be the last conversation I had with her. But, you know, INTPs, we figure out what we want to tolerate and what we don't want to tolerate. But usually it's just we don't want to tolerate certain people in our lives. So we're just not going to accept that, you know, and be entitled to what we see is best fit for ourselves, you know, because the introverted feeling demon in us is smirking at people, because we know what we've done, and we know that those person or people may lie about us, and we just smirk at them, because we know the next time we go to other people that are connected to them, they'll know who's telling the truth, because we already thought it out. That's all we do. But anyways, yeah, I walked out after the shift ended, I said, all right, because my manager was just having like this dogma attitude, like, oh, Anthony, is this good or is this bad? Because they thought I followed someone home, which I really didn't. I made a delivery out, and then on the way back, I saw that person, because that person, which was the ENFP, they got fired. And I was talking to that person, giving you this I love you, I respect you, and I appreciate you speech. And I didn't do all this stuff to get you fired. It was other people that got you fired. And that person thought I was following her home. And that's what she told the ESTJ person. And the ESTJ person said, this person said, you followed her home. No, it was just on the way, and it was past the neighborhood. Because I would always have these conversations with that ENFP. And that ENFP thinks I'm doing something, I have bad intentions for her, which, if you hear her side of the story and my side of the story, you'll know that I've never done anything bad to her. I've only given her love, respect, and appreciation. And that's one of the main things I'm devastated right now about, because that person, that ENFP, she cut me out of my life, and I don't know why, because she's not giving me the time to explain. And I don't want anyone to, who's watching this, to jump to conclusions, because I don't even know myself. And the talk with the ESTP and my INFJ friend, they're saying that, they're giving me all these reasons, that telling me that I should or should not be upset about them. And I tell them I'm not mad at that ENFP for doing what she did. I'm just sad because I don't know why, and I don't get to explain my side of the story. Because one thing for sure is I know that ENFP's been hurting for her whole life. And then I come into her life not even 2 weeks, and I'm the nicest person in her life out of 21 years of her living. That makes me sad, because that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to give her love and respect. Like, I didn't do anything physical with her, but I was always there for her. And I let her, take the driver's seat. Because, well, ENFPs, they have introverted sensing in their anxious slide, and their introverted intuition's always worried about what they want, or, their future and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, I'll make sure you're comfortable with me, because that's the most important thing in a relationship to me, is just trust. That's why sometimes INFJs can get on my nerves, or just be a turnoff for INTPs, because they're extroverted intuition nemesis, and their introverted intuition hero trying to always be in control. Don't do that. Just don't do that, INFJs. That's just so insulting to INTPs. It really is. And they'll remember it. They'll remember everything you do. Especially when it comes to those perceiving functions, or those perception functions. I hate that stuff. And it's really foggy outside. Glad I didn't go outside today, because I was going to go to the store and get some apple juice, orange juice, some dental products and whatnot. But like I said, patience is the best thing that you can do for yourselves, INFJs. And that's one of the best things I've ever done with my relationship with that ENFP. Like, we weren't a romantic couple or anything, but a lot of people kind of saw it that way, because I was just going out of my way to do a lot of stuff for her. And I kind of let her know that I was doing a lot of stuff for her, but she doesn't know that I was doing a lot of stuff for me, myself. And that's one of the hardest things for INTPs, is that they're triple systematic, so they can come off as this like selfless person, or person who could possibly be smothering people. But I can tell you, I didn't smother that person, that ENFP. I gave her my utmost respect and love, and I showed her love by doing a lot of things with her, by trusting her with my possessions, doing all this stuff. Because I wanted to prove to her what a loving friendship can be. And if she wanted to take that to the next level, that's her decision. But she didn't want that, and I respected that, and I trusted that decision. Because yeah, I was physically attracted to her, but that doesn't mean I wanted to pursue a romantic relationship, because it takes 1 plus 1 to make a romantic relationship. Or if you want to do like a a romantic relationship, well, I'm not the person making the decision there. You just all had to come to an agreement and stuff and do that, or polygamy, stuff like that. But for me, I like a one-on-one relationship, because it's more comfortable for me to just have that one person, in my opinion. It could change later on, but I don't know. And I'm saying I don't know because it's always up in interpretation, you know. Um, but yeah, um, yeah, I'm just saying, like, for that ENFP to just cut me out of her life. I'm not mad at her. I'm just sad. Like I said, because I don't know this concrete closure that's happened to us, because we did a lot of stuff together. We would go out to eat, to have ice cream. Um, what else? Yeah, she would drive my car all the time, because I would let her drive my car. I let her be in control. Um, we'd talk a lot late. Sometimes we'll talk for hours, and I would give her my 2 cents, and just you know be as open minded as I can see myself to be. But yeah, like I said, it just makes me sad, because I just don't know. Because that ISFP, that superego, that introverted feeling, I'm just devastated from it. I'm devastated from that, and just devastated from what I tolerated from my workspace. Just people using me. Even if they could have done stuff themselves. That just makes me. I'm angry about work. The employment I was working at. And then I'm sad about, my ENFP friend just cutting me out. And I just want to talk to her. Because I know pretty much no one else is going to give her the love and respect like I ever did to her. I know I sound arrogant by saying that, but it just makes me sad to think about that. Because a lot of people, the INFJ friend, he told me just to throw her out of the dumpster. Just don't talk to her. Don't talk to the ESTP friend. But I'm not interest based like that. I had to come to a closure, and I can't give up on them, because that's what it looks like to me. It looks like I'm giving up on them, and I'm not gonna do that, because they're really hurt. They're really hurt people, and I don't want to give up on them. So, some people may call me. They may use the term simping for her, but I'm not. I'm not interest based in that. I'm only keen on her health and well being. And I know there's a lot of kids who will call that simping, but I can tell you it's not simping. It just means I have a big heart for that person. I have a big heart for my other friend too, my ESTP friend. My ESTP friend, he apologized to me for doing something. Like he really did. He he told me, Anthony, I'm really sorry for doing this. I felt that I disrespected you, and by him doing what he did. And I said, that's fine. I'm not going to be mad at you that you did that. Then he's just asking me why. And then I'm just telling him why, you don't have to be mad at me. And then he was basically saying like, hey Anthony, well, I'm just telling you this because I'm really sorry about it. I really disrespected you, and I know that you are a bigger man than I ever could be, you know. And that, I mean, that kind of made me smile a little bit because I know I would be really delicate in just about almost every situation I take into heart. And when he said what he did, and in his mind, he's disrespecting me like that. I told him, it's okay, man. It's okay. Because for me, I just can't give up on him. I can't give up on my ENFP friend either. Because I know whatever I do, it's going to be worth the wait for me to be patient and for me to just always be as honest as I can be. And like I said before, like I was romantically interested in the ENFP friend. I wanted one day to let her know that, but that I didn't want to force it on her. And if she didn't want to do that, I would happily be her friend. Because again, I'm not interest based. I'm triple systematic, and if I'm interest based, well, if I'm using my interest based side of my ISFP superego, I'm just going to be really respectful about it. Because when it comes to me interacting with anything in life, I just want to move with something. I don't want to move it. And if I'm forcing myself to do something for someone, it's because I'm trying to move with them, or I'm trying to show them a way for them to move. Because I'm not going to move them myself. Because they have to make that decision themselves. I'm just going to give them all these possibilities how to do it. And I guess I'm still talking about this Jordan right now because it's going to help you, because you're being educated about how I'm presenting myself, Like I'm kind of talking through my ENTJ shadow, my ISFP superego. Like there's a lot of people living a lot of sad lives or angry lives, these days. But man, like I said, that ENFP, she means a lot to me. So does that ESTP friend. That he told me he disrespected me. Like any affiliative personality type, you're just gonna downright say what the ESTP did. He really disrespected me, and to throw him out in the trash. But I'm not gonna do that because I don't give up on people. Even though I haven't answered any phone calls or text messages from my father's side of the family, I'm still coming back to them. But I'm only going to come back to them where I'm just really extremely educated in this field of study, and prove to them who they are, how they are, who I am, and how I am, and to better educate them on how I see things, and for them to open their minds and stuff like that, because they're affiliative. They just follow rules, and they just follow what people do. Social media is just killing them. and they don't even know that. You know, social media, there's just, I'm going to complain about social media because it's not all of this. I'm just going to complain some of the many ways it can be like really negative and pessimistic. Like, I don't use social media, but you have like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and stuff like that. You just have basically kids just showing themselves to the world. Like, no one, like, you see how fortunate or unfortunate some people are in their situations. And then I'm not, I guess I can be rude and say, well, you know, fat burger and, America is America. There's so much obesity in America, and I'm not complaining about that, but I'm just stating the fact. Like, a lot of what you see on social media is just thick people, when in just reality the actual definition is that they have a lot of fat stored up. Like, I'm a skinny person. I'm not like, and I'm not here to vouch for skinny people or fat people, but I have my own interest in people, and I'm interested about learning everyone, but I just specifically interested in certain types of people, and that doesn't mean personality type. I mean like body types and stuff like that. So you have a lot of people, not doing, they're not respecting their body as I see they would. Um, there's just a bunch of kids doing just dumb stuff. It's not really creative. It's unoriginal. And that's just so sad because you just have so many other people watching them, and they look like they have great lives when really they don't. And when you look at them, they say they're happy, or they're doing whatever they're doing. They're just following the ball, the affiliative ball. It just makes you think, like, especially the intuitives, like those are the actual robots. Those are the actual robots because they're just following orders and commands all the time. And then here, people like me, just thinking for myself, even though it's extremely difficult for me to emotionally express myself. I'm trying to figure out the hidden meaning of it because that's what INTPs are trying to do, or that's what INTPs are. Same thing for ISTPs. But social media is just a toxic mindset for most of what the platform is, because it's a business. It's only just gaining profits from people just watching dumb videos. Like, there's some people actually like really rich, or monetarily rich, just from doing dumb things on the internet. And they never, well, maybe some of them ask for it, but not everyone asks for it. And then you have some people just put in so much work at whatever they do at the establishment. And I'm not saying, and I'm not frowning upon people making money off of social media. But I don't like the fact that there's just so many kids on there, and then there's overgrown kids there too. And it's almost like extroverted thinking and introverted feeling battle on social media. It's all about status. It's about all those likes and reacts and stuff like that. Because those are just definitions of people that don't like themselves, or they're not really happy with themselves. So they gotta present themselves on social media. That's the scary part. Because you see how sad people are. You see how unhappy people are with their lives. That's why I don't use social media anymore. Because I just don't want to see that stuff. I don't want to see that crap. If I want to see that crap, I can just watch a dog take a dump. It's the same entertainment there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for a lot of people on social media, but that's all it is. To me, at least. Jordan, I don't know extremely what the altitude of, what that INTP is going through, but I can tell you from this INTP right here, I'm devastated right now. And I guess I'm going through the motions. But the best thing that's going to happen to me is just to wander off. Not through my head, but through my head and through the real world too. And I might have to do that alone. Either that or with someone I trust. But I can tell you, the one person I wanted to do it with was that ENFP. But since I don't have that person around, I'm just going to have to do it myself. But I can bet you this, that I will better myself every day. Because I want to see the real meaning of a smile. I don't want to see people with a smile on their face. I don't want to see them I don't want to see them laughing. Maybe I do want to see those two, but I want to know when they're performing those two actions that they're happy. Because smiling and laughing is not the same thing as being happy. Because being fake is extremely exhausting for INTPs. And that's why we just alienate ourselves from everything or almost everything, because we just put on a fake smile, then soon we realize, why are we tolerating this anymore? It's not worth it. It's not worth being fake. It's so tiring and it's so exhausting. Because the outside world is exhausting them every day. Social media is exhausting them every day. We don't want to go through that. Using the Bible forms of heaven and hell, it's like INTPs were in hell all the time. So we just choose to stay in our comfort zones or in our house or whatever it is and not talk to anyone. Because we're just so exhausted all the time. And most people, they don't understand what it's like. It's really frustrating because we take the time in our day to do all this stuff for them. And we don't expect anything in return. And then when we do, and it's actually meaningful, we don't know how to express it because we never get the time to do that. We never really get the time to be ourselves around people who actually love us. That's one of the reasons why we're down on ourselves and why we say we're worthless all the time, because it's so very unoften when someone actually loves us. It's so mind-opening. I can tell you that ENFP, she loved me, and I loved her back. And then now I don't know what to do. And I'm still processing all this, all this math in my head that's going on. It hurts me so much. Even though she stopped talking to me like a little over a week ago, I'm still devastated about it. Because she stopped talking to me and she kind of left me with a mean note. Even though a lot of it wasn't truthful. So I'm trying to do the math all the time. And then talking to other people that will actually listen. And that I'm not afraid to talk to them about. It's what helps me come to closer. But the very thing that's going to help me come to closer is her. Because I got to know face to face. Because I know who she is. She's a person with a really big heart. And that's what really That's why I find really attractive in the person. How big of a heart they are. How selfless they can be. Because that's a turn on for INTPs. People who are just, selfless and they mean what they actually want to do. And they explain themselves. As INTPs, we don't get that a lot, and we don't get to do that to other people ourselves. Like I said, that's why we're really hard on ourselves. Yeah. I think one of the best things you can teach INTP is to be self-sufficient, so they can live off in the wilderness on their own or with another person, or teach stuff to other people. Because the best thing you can do for INTP is for them to educate you about what they do, because they love to be the teacher in their ESFJ subconscious. But if you want to get them there, you gotta let them be in the supporting role, and you can't really make the decisions for them. Like I said, you gotta be in the passenger seat while they're in the driver's seat. That's how you kind of love a NP personality type. I think that's about it about this video. Oh, yeah. I'll probably make another video about the ISFP superego. I get sad. They're super depressed while I'm talking about this, but it's really educational, and I think it helps a lot. So, yeah. Yeah, and if anyone wants me to make a specific video, I'll do that, because that's pretty much why I'm making videos anyways, because people ask me to do it. It helps my introverted feeling feel valued in a way. And in a way, it feels loved too, because, I just want to be the better self I can be for the future. But if I don't see people loving me or appreciating me in that way, or for INTP standpoint, well, INTP's not going to really move. I guess that's when they can be really apathetic, and that's when their apathy kicks in, because it's just such a sad life for INTPs, especially if they get in this mind state. But yeah, anyways, that'll be the video.